And just like that, we're back. It's Views from Section 400. Matt, Jack, and Brian along for another action-packed episode. In this one, NFL football is back. We're in the month of August. The division previews. We're going to run through not every team, just the AFC East today, but division previews are on the cards. I'm pretty pumped about it, and I can't wait to dive into not only NFL football, but my team, the Birds, when that comes down. But, Mike of the Week in this one, Olympic talk. Brian is a huge Olympics guy. He has some red-hot notes for us, and we'll jump right into that NFL division preview for you guys. But, yeah, without further ado, football is back, like I said. And I gave out the Bears -2 on Thursday in the two-man pod, so I'm counting that as 1-0 on the year, getting an early lead. That's what you get up in Section 400. Brian's already got something to say about it.
Yeah, we'll get into it when I get into my Michael of the Week, which will be right after this word from our favorite sponsor, SeatGeek.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's tough to say, but the summer is almost over. With the 80-degree weather and sunny days coming to an end, there's no better time than now to head over to SeatGeek. Whether you want to get to a ball game up in Section 400 this summer, check out an outdoor concert before the weather turns to rain and snow, or go to a football game, yep, those are happening in August, SeatGeek is the premier ticket app that takes the confusion out of buying tickets. All of you up in Section 400 can get $20 off your first ticket purchase with code VIEWSFROM400 at checkout. Again, that's code VIEWSFROM400 for $20 off your first purchase at checkout. You can click the link in the description of the show to download the app, go to your favorite event, use our code, $20 off. And now, Michael of the Week.
All right, so my Michael this week is not going to be the fact my face is zoomed in a million freaking zoom lengths. If anybody, by the way, in the comments knows how to turn off center stage on a Mac, please let me know, because I don't want to be dealing with this for the next month. But my Michael of the Week will be none other than rain-ruining sporting events. You guys know how much I am a dome enthusiast. I'm sick of the rain.
Build a roof. Why would we just build a roof?
We finally got football back, and we only got 3.5 quarters because it freaking got rained out. And then I won't even get into France and their Olympic debacle with the triathlon. The river was like unsanitary, so they had to cancel training. Barely got to swim in that river. But just build a dome. Just build domes. It's not that hard.
Brian, that water was fucking disgusting.
It was poop water.
Yeah, but unreal. Yeah, I mean, you got a lot going on over there, dude.
Yeah, breaking news. Brian's Michael of the Week. Build a roof, build a dome. What else is new coming out of the How Camp? Are we rebuilding? We're rebuilding. We're building a dome. Like, what are we doing? We're always building something.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, fuck Bob. I should rename myself to Brian the Builder, I guess.
So you want to go to City Field and you want there to be a roof over that?
Yes.
Horrible take. Jack, what do you got for Michael Week?
With specifically with City Field, there's so many freaking planes flying over LaGuardia Airport that would also cancel out that noise if you had a roof.
It makes a way better aesthetic.
We're not talking about airplanes in New York City on this show. This is a sports podcast.
Well, we're doing the AFC East tonight.
Good point.
All right.
It's ridiculous.
My Michael of the Week, it's going to come from France, from the Olympics, and it's going to come from a Frenchman himself. France's Anthony Ammirati knocked down, he's a pole vaulter, and he knocked down the horizontal pole, the one that you got to jump over, with his own pole. Yes, that is right. His bulge, his crotch, his male private parts is what knocked that off, and the video is hilarious. Imagine training your whole life, or at least at the minimum a couple years for this one event, and then it's your knots that just absolutely ruin everything for you. You got too big of a sack, and that's how you don't get a medal. I mean, he was going to be for a medal too, and that's why he didn't get it. Just a tough look. I mean, are you happy? Or are you sad? What's your reaction there, Brian?
I don't know how to think there. Like, so he was jumping over, and his cock hit the pole.
Yes, and that's how he lost. That's how he lost himself a medal. in the
Dude, by the
Olympics.
way, I think that Mike of the Week right there is exactly what captures and defines what the Mike of the Week is supposed to be. So good work for you on pulling that out, Jack. That is what the Mike of the Week is right there in a nutshell. So I think that's a good definition right there.
There you go. Yeah, the video that goes along with it is absolutely hysterical. It's what every man, at least what I think would go through every man's mind as he's watching that is, damn, like for the first time in my life, I bet I wish I had a smaller package. You know what I mean?
I
If
mean,
it's just a little bit smaller, he would have been a 2024 Olympic champion.
I haven't
Would that
seen.
cost him?
I
It
haven't
costed him a medal, yeah.
So don't worry. You'll get to see the bulge. Don't worry, boss. We got you.
Well, I'm thinking like how egregious it was. Like, are we talking Michael Sam at the combine here, or like?
Brian, it cost him a fucking Olympic medal.
Brian, we're talking Fanatics jerseys issues
Oh no!
here. Yeah. Like the
No,
Fanatics
right now.
jerseys, if let me put it this way, I don't think that Fanatics jerseys could have been tighter. But these guys, they wear tighter shit for sure. It's a problem.
All right, I'm done talking about the male private area. I'll jump into my Mike of the Week here. And it is kind of falls in line with, football being back. The NFL, I guess the players vote on the NFL Top 100 for the upcoming year. And 10 through 1 got released, I think, on Friday night. And I was shocked. Again, Mike of the Week here. Tyreek Hill was the number one player, which was had a phenomenal year last year and was great. Like, I don't know that you can argue against it. But what I was even more shocked about, how is Patrick Mahomes number 4 on that list? And there's only, I'm sitting on the couch Sunday eating fucking nachos, being a fat ass. So these are other players who are voting on these players. So I can't sit there and be like, oh, dude, that ranking is horrible. It's like, well, the players are voting. They probably would know a little bit better, but I would think Pat Mahomes would take the number 1 spot. I mean, the guy's going for a 3rd Super Bowl in a row this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bad take when all of Twitter is agreeing on something. That's really hard to do in this day and age. And everybody was it's voted on by the players too. So it's either I guess egos got in the way, or they were just sick of telling the interviewers that Patrick Mahomes was the best player in the league and they wanted to switch it up. But it is pretty incredible, especially after we just spent half of a podcast talking about how great Patrick Mahomes is.
But how is he number 4? Why not 2?
It's got to be exactly what you said, Brian. It's got to be some of these guys who are like, I'm not giving him the satisfaction of letting him go number 1 on that list. And, I mean, it's really as simple as what you said. This is voted on by the players, for the players, by the people, for the people. But you can't argue with what they say. They're the ones that are strapping up the chin straps, putting on the pads, hitting these guys day in and day out. You can't argue with that. It's what I always say about the Jordan and LeBron debate. As much as we like to analyze that ourselves, when you hear the players talk about who was better, the players themselves, everybody was like, yo, Jordan was just different. And then LeBron is obviously LeBron, and he's amazing in his own right, but not the same as he doesn't get talked about in the same light as players talk about Michael Jordan. It's the same thing here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna not put him at 1, you might as well do something egregious and put him all the way down at 4. So I at least kind of agree with him there. But yeah, Lamar Jackson above him at 2 is kind of wild.
It doesn't make
considering
sense.
He hasn't beaten the Mahomes.
It's gotta be the MVP conversation. I mean, to be fair, I understand that Mahomes and the Chiefs just won the Super Bowl, but Lamar Jackson just won his 2nd MVP. So that's an individual player stat. Individual player award usually goes to a player who doesn't have as much around him. And you could say that Mahomes didn't really have the weapons this year that he had in the past, but he still had Kelsey. He had a great running game with Pacheco. That defense was the best he's ever had in Kansas City. So that's why I think Lamar, I mean, not to discredit the Ravens. The Ravens have a pretty stacked squad as well, but I think that's why Lamar got the MVP nod. And I guess number 2 over Mahomes, but he's probably just more well-liked around the league than Mahomes because, Lamar seems like a cool-ass dude. And on top of that, he hasn't beaten anybody in a Super Bowl yet. He doesn't have 3. He's not hogging them all. So he's probably more well-liked as well.
Yeah, well, it goes back to the Jordan versus LeBron. I mean, if you really break it down and you add Lamar's legs into the equation, you can say Lamar is more talented, I guess, than Mahomes, which is the same thing that LeBron fans say when comparing him to Jordan. Like LeBron's the best basketball player of all time, and then Jordan fans will go ahead and say Jordan never lost the finals. So it's kind of that same argument there.
Yeah.
How many more NFL MVPs does Lamar Jackson need to be cemented into the NFL Hall of Fame without winning a Super Bowl? I mean, if he gets 3, is he Hall of Fame?
I think if he plays the way he has for the rest of his career and he makes it to an AFC championship, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's been so dynamic or disruptive. I don't know what word you really want to use here, but he's just been so iconic for the game, like a Mike Vick or a McNabb, Vince Young, how these like Russian quarterbacks are. I mean, I don't think any of those guys I just named are in
Yeah, you didn't help your case
the
there.
Hall of Fame. Yeah, I was going to add Cam Newton, but he's not a Hall of Famer either. I mean, if you really think about it, like you need a title. You really do need that title. I think even with the 2 MVPs, you might need a third or fourth, honestly, if you're not going to win a Super Bowl to become an MVP.
That's what I mean. I think if he gets 3 and just plays, I guess, average or above average football the rest of the way of his career, I think he should probably get in.
Yeah,
I think he'll find his way in.
I think he will, but there's still a chance, especially with the injury history and the lack of success in the playoffs. I think there's still a chance that he is sort of he won't be forgotten about. Just brought up those guys. They're not forgotten about, even though they're not Hall of Famers. We still know who they are. But yeah, there's a shot he doesn't make it to the Hall. I'll say that right now.
If you are watching on YouTube, I'm so sorry. I have just figured out how to turn off center stage. So we're back.
I noticed that. Good for you,
And
Ryan.
just like that, Ryan's back.
Yeah,
Only
but
an hour and a half later. But no, that's some good mics of the week there. Why don't we jump into some Olympic talk and then jump into this AFC preview?
yeah, I'll be quick about it because I know not only us but everyone watching wants us to talk some football. But there were some Olympic storylines that I feel like we need to touch on. Katie Ledecky just be tied for the second most gold medals out of any Olympian ever in the United States, most by a woman with 9. The pretty incredible part, Michael Phelps has 23 in first place, so no one's going to catch him ever. We had Ryan Krauser, a shot put guy. He is apparently the Michael Jordan of throwing bowling balls or whatever you call a shot put ball. This is his 3rd gold medal in a row. 9 years in a row, he's been the strongest man, I guess, to throw a bowling ball. We had the basketball, men's and women's, but I'll just touch on the men's. We are into the medal round. Unfortunately, South Sudan and JT Thor, War Eagle, I'm disappointed in you, Jack, did not qualify for the next round. But Team USA did, and we're on the Celtics side of the bracket with Serbia, Australia, and we're playing Brazil in the first round. So cakewalk to the finals there.
Yeah, Brian, before you keep going on, I got to apologize. I was so locked in on whether or not South Sudan ended up making it or not, because they finished 2-1 in group play, right?
1 and 2. They needed to beat Serbia or lose by 2 against them on the last day of group play to qualify, and they lost by 7.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't follow up with that. I knew the U.S. was kicking ass. I didn't even watch the Puerto Rico game. I knew we were kicking ass that much, so I didn't bother. Been sort of tuned out of the Olympics. I was so locked in on what you were going to say. I'm sorry, but War Eagle, my bad.
Thank you, War Eagle. But so we have the Celtics cakewalk to the finals. We're in the East, and then over there in the West, you have Germany that'll probably come out of it, you would think. And the U.S. only beat them by 4 in the exhibition, albeit that was without Kevin Durant. But that could be a very good final. Shades of 2012 versus the Gasol brothers in Spain, if we get that. And then we had golf today.
Hold up real quick, Brian. Where is Canada in all that?
Canada is probably on a crash course to face Germany in the semifinal.
So basically it will be Canada versus Germany, and the winner of that will play the U.S. for the gold?
Yeah, the U.S. would probably play Australia in the quarters, which won't be a cakewalk, but it's an easier matchup than having to play Canada or Germany.
Right.
And where is France in all this?
France gets Canada in the first round. So that's the West is
Oh,
the
that's
other
an
side.
immediate tough game.
Yeah, so I kind
That
of
might be the
glossed
game
over
of the
it, but
tournament.
we can go over that side of the bracket. It's Canada and France, and then Germany against Giannis and Greece.
Oh, that's gonna be sick.
That'll be a good conference.
That's gonna be sick.
There'll be some good games there. I just think Germany is
That'll be
very
great.
good. And I'm really hanging out hope Germany gets the plus 235 to get a medal cash. I gave that out on a few pods ago. Hopefully some of you tailed. But then real quick, just to round it out today for the Olympics, we had golf. We had Scotty Scheffler continue his reign of terror. As soon as we brought up the Xander Schauffele, is he better conversation, Scotty just said no. Second American in a row to win the gold at golf. Xander actually won in 2020 or 2021. And Americans have now won 3 of the 5 gold medals in Olympic golf. They've only done it 5 times. The first time they did it was in Paris. A guy named Charles Sands, American, won it 1900. He also played tennis in that Olympics.
Wow.
Hell of an athlete.
But yeah, I think Scotty Scheffler is back. And by the way, Tiger Woods never won a gold medal. He never had the opportunity to. But Matt, your take's looking better and better by the day.
What was my take?
Scotty could be better than Tiger Woods by the time he retires.
A lot of people forget about that one, including myself.
And then last thing from Sunday's headlines, we put out a clip on Saturday from the podcast on Thursday where we kind of shat on Spain. Matt brought up the fact they had a 1 gold medal at the time. They now have 5 medals. Carlos Alcaraz went down to Djokovic in the final.
No way! The Joker got his revenge.
Got his revenge in straight sets. Only a 3-set, best of 3 sets, so he straight setted them 2-0, but got his revenge.
Wow. All right. So what would you rather win? Like a gold Olympic medal or like the what was it, the Open?
I think they matched up in Wimbledon.
In Wimbledon? Bro, I'm taking a gold medal every time.
Yeah, you probably made a hell of a lot more money at Wimbledon.
But
true.
still, you think like these guys, like if you're a pro athlete like that, like are you really stressing about one purse from one tournament? Maybe. That's like maybe, man, count it up.
Yeah, I mean,
probably a little bit.
If you're Djokovic, they banned him from half the tournaments because he refused to get vaccinated a couple years ago. So he's probably still playing catch up on the bank account.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't pleased losing the final in Wimbledon, but let's keep it moving.
Yeah, last thing, Alcaraz is going to have a lot more time with all those guys. Djokovic is older, Nadal's washed now, and Federer's already.
What's Alcaraz? 22? Like he's going to be around for the next 20 years.
He'll have a lot more time to do gold medals. But yeah, that is my Olympic roundup from Sunday.
Awesome. Love how you did that, Bri. Why don't we jump into some NFL football and some AFC East football, particularly in this one. It's the Views from Section 400 NFL Divisional Preview, and we're coming at you with the AFC East first, like I just said. I guess kind of since it's the first one, you guys want to know how we're doing it. We're just going to ask, a couple questions on each team, kind of previewing who they are, go over some win totals and just numbers, outlook on what they might accomplish or we can expect this upcoming season. But like I said, it's the AFC East. So, I don't know, Brian, do you want to address all these teams or?
Yeah, I'll get into it. So like Matt said, quick team totals, win totals on each team. We got the Bills at 10.5, the New York Jets at 9.5, the Dolphins at 9.5, and the Patriots 4.5. So we will start with the lowest over-under, the New England Patriots, the fall from grace in New England. No Bill Belichick, no Mac Jones. 4.5 wins. It is favored at -160. I can give you guys a few reasons I think it goes over before we get into real world and talk about why they're going under. But I mean, very first thing right out the gate, they got rid of the Bama stench at quarterback. No quarterback from Alabama is ever going to win another Super Bowl. Not only is that a shot at Matt's guy, but that's also foreshadowing for later in this preview. We also have Demario Douglas there, who looked good last year, didn't score a touchdown, but he could break out into a wide receiver 1 this season, maybe. You have a new coaching staff, a younger team. They're playing with house money. No one's expecting anything. That could help. And then you have Joe Milton, the best quarterback of all time in practice. If Sundays were played against air, he would be Tom Brady. So he's lighting a fire under Drake May's ass in training camp. Might make Drake May better. So maybe we see a big season out of Drake May. But before I get into some rapid fire questions to you guys, tell me why I am just way too optimistic on this team.
If you're going to be optimistic on the New England Patriots this year, it's for one reason, and you didn't even name it. It would be because Jacoby Brissett is going to lead them out of the gate and try and corral this very young team to a couple wins in the season. But, dude, Jacoby Brissett, I mean, it seems like everywhere he ever goes, he gets injured right away, be it his own fault or the team doctor's fault. You're going to have Drake May, the rookie quarterback. You got one of the youngest, cast of wide receivers. I mean, your most seasoned offensive player is Hunter Henry, at tight end, who has never been, I don't know, has he ever had 800 yards in a season? I doubt it. I don't see, Brian, I don't see a world where they have a successful time. I really don't. I have them going under this 4.5 win number.
Well, is Drake May not the starting quarterback?
He probably will be, but he's allegedly looked terrible in training camp.
I was going to say, I don't know. Usually teams are smart enough to not say anything this early in training camp, but, to keep competition high and all that. But having said that, I don't really think it matters if they go with Brissett or if they go with Drake May. They don't have any weapons to really get this done on offense. They're going to have to be a defensive-minded team, pound the football, make the other team make mistakes. I don't see a world where they can consistently score 20 points in a game. I think their offense is going to average like it did last year, 17 points, 18 points at the maximum. And it's going to be another really bad year for them. But they're going to have another great draft pick next year. They're going to have, the second year next year. This is, as Brian would like to say, a rebuilding year for them.
Not a transition year.
Not a transition year. This is a rebuild year.
I would tend to agree with that. Drake May would be my only reason to be optimistic about the Patriots. A rookie QB, you never know what you're going to get. You never know what's going to happen. Maybe they spark fire. We just saw what CJ Stroud did. I mean, it changes the whole outlook of the franchise. The Texans were a joke, and now they're, up there with the top of the AFC to be, the nominee out of that conference for the Super Bowl. So, yeah, rookie QB is what I'm looking at in terms of optimistic outlook. I wouldn't say it's very high, considering he's looked horrible, as so the reports say. So that doesn't help. But, yeah, that's kind of the only thing I can look at is say, hey, maybe the rookie quarterback catches fire, but doesn't seem like it's trending that way.
Yeah, it's never good when your rookie quarterback's getting bad reports and your other rookie that you drafted after is getting compared to great quarterbacks and you have Jacoby Brissett there. So both you guys are leaning the under there, which, by the way, is plus money.
Yeah, I would take the under.
What'd you say it was? You say plus 200 or plus money?
Just it's plus money. The over's minus 160, so I got to think the under's plus 120.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I see them winning 2 or 3 games this year. I mean, obviously there's the flukes, last second crazy shit happens, especially in this division. But I don't see a world where if things go the way they're supposed to go, these guys have more than 3 wins on the season.
All right, well. Yeah. I guess you two are leading the under there. I'll take the over. I like Drake May. I kind of wish the Giants would have gotten him. I like Demario Douglas a lot this year. But before we move on from the Patriots, I will go with 5 quick questions to ask you guys. So first one, what will be higher? Boston's total championships since 2007, 9, or Ramondre Stevenson rush touchdowns this season?
Stevenson rushing touchdowns.
9's a good fucking line for this, Brian.
It is, right?
9's a really good line for this. I'm taking the under. I don't think they get in the end zone that many times. He's going to be their whole offense, but I don't think they get in the end zone that many times.
This is rushing touchdowns, not receiving too, so I could definitely see.
Double digit all day, 10, easy. I'll take the over. I see him 12 touchdowns this year.
All right.
I'm sitting at a 7 or 8.
Yeah, I like the 7 rushing touchdowns, 4 or 5 receiving. But more passing yards per game, Drake May or UMass quarterback Tyson Fomakan. Fomakan had 177.4 last season per game.
I'll go with Drake May. They drafted him for a reason, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Drake May. We're talking an NFL quarterback should average at least 180 passing yards per game.
You'd think so, but Mac Jones in that offense last year was around 180 on his over-under.
I know, I know.
All right, we talked about Demario Douglas. I like him to kind of break out as a solid receiver this year, but he did not score a touchdown last season. So over under 4.5 games until he finds the end zone.
I'm gonna go under. I've been hearing a lot of good things about him, and he is going to be one of their only, receivers in this offense. So yeah, give me the under.
I'll take the under. He might go fuck around and score the opening touchdown of the year for them.
Very well could. All right, another
Take the
touchdown
under.
prop here. Hunter Henry, does he find the end zone more times than analysts or commentators refer to his former team as the San Diego Chargers?
Hunter Henry is a touchdown machine, dude. So honestly, I think I just have to take the over on this. If anybody's scoring touchdowns in this offense, it's him. Outside of Ramondre and potentially Douglas, I mean, we're literally naming the only people that are worth naming on their offense right now. So yeah, give me. I don't even know what the question was, but give me the over on Hunter Henry touchdowns.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I'll take the over as well, or whatever the question was. Hunter Henry.
I worded it kind of poorly. It was will announcers or analysts refer to the Los Angeles Chargers as the San Diego Chargers more times than Hunter Henry scores touchdowns.
I'll take my
Oh,
stab on Henry.
yeah. We're 2 years removed. Yeah, I'm going with Hunter Henry.
All
Yeah, I
right.
think that's a better line or better question, like when they freshly changed the name. But I think now it's a little settled in with the name. Shouldn't see too many mistakes. Maybe Al Michaels, but other than that,
Al Michaels is doing a lot of football still, and he's not all the way there. So,
Well,
I
Al
know.
Michaels is just going to start calling them Al Chargers.
all right, last one here. We've talked about him a lot in this team preview. Over under 119 snaps played by Joe Milton this season.
Over under 100 snaps.
119. The Patriots averaged 45 offensive snaps per game last year. So it would be about 3 games worth of snaps for Joe Milton.
I mean,
I'll take the under.
I'm taking the under, dude. I don't really think he's going to see the field.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to see the field at all.
Bad start, 1-11 start. Go from May to your guy that's been.
Brian, that's not a bad start. That's a bad season.
Yeah, I mean, he only needs 3 games to break that. You go 1-11 through your first 12, give him the ball for the last 5 games, he catches that over.
12 games in. All right, it's just a rocky start. We'll get him in the last 3 games of the year, 4 games of the year. Come on.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
crazy.
this is it. You give up on the season. That's what
Under.
this line
Give me the
is.
fucking under on Milton, dude. Christ.
Okay, well, that's all I got on the Patriots. Matt, I think you're the Bills guy, right?
My favorite team for this episode will be the Buffalo Bills, as I will be going over their season outlook. Brian, what do we have? 10.5 wins?
10.5 wins, and the under is actually favored at -130.
I see them winning the AFC East, right? I mean, I think they potentially beat the Dolphins twice, if anything, split. Um, it's a hot take, but I think they can beat the Jets twice as well. And they'll definitely beat the Patriots twice. So that's what, already 5 or so, 6 wins. I tend to think the Bills should be able to win at least 11 or 12 games. So I'll take the over. But you guys tell me maybe why it might go under, or maybe you guys agree.
Yeah, I'm taking the under for the Bills. And this one might be one of my more bold ones, but I don't think that they're coming close to 10.5 and hitting 11 or 12 wins. I think they're closer to like 7, maybe 8 wins on the season. I understand they have Josh Allen, who is a perennial MVP candidate. He has put teams on his back time and time again, but they lost Stephon Diggs, who was easily, his favorite weapon out there. they didn't really replace him with too many great receiving options. Keon Coleman, the rookie, Curtis Samuel, the long, well-known gadget guy. I just don't think that they're going to have a very explosive offense. They're going to need to trust the run game with James Cook and Josh Allen, their tight ends. It's going to be very different than Bills teams in the past. And on top of that, their defense got absolutely gutted. So I just think there's going to be a lot of changes happening in Buffalo, a lot of new things that are going on. I was looking at their schedule. I think they might start like 1-5. So I'm taking the under on them, and I don't have a whole lot of faith for them to actually win the AFCs this year.
Yeah, a lot of the reasons you just named for the under is actually why I kind of like the over. Once Joe Brady took over last year, they really leaned on that run game. They let James cook. They found creative ways to get Allen to run around instead of him just playing Madden and spamming a bunch of buttons. I think the loss of Diggs and that kind of makeup receiving core is a little overblown in terms of just people panicking over it. Keon Coleman's going to be a good player. Dalton Kincaid, if they are going to hit this over, he's going to have to take that step into the elite of the tight ends, kind of like Laporta did last year. But with this Joe Brady offense, they found good ways to run the ball. They ran a good, more tamed version of their offense instead of just Josh Allen playing hero ball. And I don't know. I like them better than the Dolphins. I like them obviously better than the Patriots. And the Jets haven't proven anything. So I like Matt's take that the Bills could win this division.
And they're used to it, right? Josh, I mean, we've seen quarterbacks be good, great, whatever you want to call it, without a loaded wide receiver room. I mean, Mahomes obviously on a different planet, but he did it. I mean, he didn't have an all-world receiver room last year, and they won the Super Bowl. I get it; their stats were a little bit down, and whatever you want to call it. But Josh Allen, it's if anybody's going to be close to Mahomes level, it's Josh Allen. So he's a good athlete, good player, good quarterback. I don't see a crazy step, but that kind of leads me into, I guess, my first rapid fire question. Look, brand new draft pick, Keon Coleman. They also, we haven't mentioned yet, they signed Chase Claypool. So who goes 1,000 yards, Chase Claypool or Keon Coleman?
Yeah, I saw it.
Keon Coleman, bro.
What?
Keon Coleman, bro. I don't even know if Chase Claypool's making this damn team.
I mean, Chase Claypool isn't even the one thing he really had was being the famous TikToker athlete, and he doesn't even have that anymore. Jared McCain took that mantle. So Chase Claypool, I can't believe you brought up his name. Like Jack said, he might not even make this team.
Right, 26 in the prime of his life. He's going to be their number 2 receiver.
Shakir will win a job over him. And they got Curtis Samuel down there.
Throwing him out like very, very, very prematurely and easily.
I am. I definitely will say that you're right about that, Matt. I'm pretty out on Chase Claypool. I mean, I had. How do I say this the right way? I had a little bit of faith. I was excited for him, not about him, but for him when he signed with the Bears and with Miami. Those were offenses where I thought, quarterbacks that like to make explosive plays, offenses that basically live on explosive plays. I was thinking it might be a good fit for him. Those long, deep bombs that he always seems to get open for and then drop. I mean, it just didn't work out. I'm out on the Chase Claypool experiment. So give me Keon.
Should be interesting with Claypool finally having a competent quarterback.
I mean, they have Shakir there, Curtis Samuel, Mac Hollins is just a better Chase Claypool. MVS is there. Like I don't know if Chase Claypool's going to make this team.
And on top of that, I mean, we're not even expecting that much out of the wide receivers here. They got the 2 tight ends that everyone likes, and they got James Cook that we're all talking about the running game between him and Josh Allen. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if not a single player on the Buffalo Bills finished with 1,000 receiving yards this year. I would not be surprised.
Player or receiver?
Player. I think if anybody does it, it's going to be Kincaid.
Kincaid,
but I don't. I mean, do tight ends normally reach 1,000? How many did he have last year? Like,
No, a
He
good
had
tight
like
end. I mean, unless you're
700
like
last year.
Kelsey.
I mean, he's their number one. He's the guy.
Kincaid, yeah.
I don't
Look,
know.
But
I
then
think
again,
what
that guy had 673 yards over the regular season last year.
Yeah, he didn't play like the first half, or he barely played.
well, I guess that's my first hot take of the year because I think Chase Claypool and Josh Allen could have a huge connection. But let's not
I
drag this
respect
out.
it.
It's a hot take. That's what we're here up in section 400. Next question I had here. I'm not sure if you guys saw this one yet, but is their head coach? I guess what's it? Dan McDermott. I just wrote his last name. Or Sean McDermott. Is he on the hot seat? He's been there 7 years.
If they didn't fire him after the 9/11 metaphor he made, he's safe. He's going to retire a Buffalo Bill.
The Bills are basically like the Sixers. Great in the regular season, lose in the second round.
Yeah, just like the Cowboys. I don't know. I thought if anything, he would have been on the hot seat after like this past year, but they sort of turned it around at the end and just didn't barely make the playoffs. So I understand why he's back again. Uh, I think yes, Matt. To answer your question, yeah, I think he should be on the hot seat because he's got Josh Allen, who, as we talked about, is as close to Mahomes as anybody else in this league. So if you got talent like that at the quarterback position, you need to make things happen. And the Bills have been definitely disappointing ever since they lost that overtime coin flip.
I mean, like I said, I think they just have some kind of loyalty to him. Most other organizations after that, it was a half
feels
joke
like
after that
it
scandal
feels like
last year.
coordinators are just getting clipped.
Is it? Obviously, it's his fault for continuing to lose. It's also on Josh Allen, but they're dealing with Patrick Mahomes over there, and
Right.
the brass has to know like they're supposed to take a step back. They've been talked about as Super Bowl contenders for the past 3 years, and this year, while they're still at 10.5 wins, they're not being talked about in the same conversation. So I don't know if he'll have as much heat on him this year.
I think he's totally on the hot seat. All right, ready for question 3. Can Josh Allen limit the turnovers this upcoming year with the now new wide receiver room? I'm talking mainly interceptions. I mean, for as crazy stats and as wild he plays, puts up some turnovers.
Yeah, he's gonna score like 45 total touchdowns and turn the ball over like 25 times. He's gonna be asked to do everything. And I know I just mentioned Joe Brady and how the offense looked better, but he's gonna feel like he has to do more. So the turnover is still gonna be there, but he could have a Superman type season with 30 something passing touchdowns and another 10 rushing.
Yeah, again, I'm just not as bullish on this offense and on this whole team as you guys are, I guess. So I just think that anytime you lose the continuity with somebody like Diggs or Gabe Davis, you bringing in new guys like a rookie in Coleman and Shakir was there last year, but Curtis Samuel, your guy Chase Claypool. Anytime you bring in these guys, there's always a chance for more drops, more deflected passes, all this kind of stuff. And I think that they're going to be more creative with the run game and the blocking with the tight end. So I'm not actually as worried about him fumbling. He's still going to do his Superman shit. But as far as throwing the ball, yeah, I would expect just as many interceptions, this year as compared to the past few years.
I know you have to defend Gabe Davis now because he's on the Jags, but Matt Collins and MVS really aren't that much of a downgrade from Gabe Davis. From what he did.
No. You can't. First of all, we can't really compare Matt Collins to MVS and Gabe Davis. They're totally different players. MVS and Gabe Davis.
They're go run a streak down the field and catch a jump ball. That's their job.
For the two of them, yes, not for Matt Collins.
Yeah, It's Matt Collins' job. It's just he's not as good at it.
Matt Collins is a big boy. He loves blocking in the run game as an outside receiver, and that's what he does. I'm not going to sit here and call him like a Deebo Samuel, but he's a strong motherfucker. You get him the ball and you watch him like do his work. I've never thought of Matt Collins as a deep ball, jump ball guy, like the way. Well, I mean, maybe a jump ball guy, But like, the deep balls, the streaks, that's MVS to a T. That's Gabe Davis to a T.
As watching Matt Collins on the Eagles, I can confirm that guy's strictly a deep ball guy if you're going to throw him the ball.
All right. Well, he has been on several teams, so maybe the Eagles used him strictly for jump balls. I mean, I don't even remember him being there. Was this Walt Smith and
He started his
AJ
career
Brown?
with the Eagles.
Yeah, he started. I don't know who the quarterback was. I think it was Wentz into Hurts.
Yeah, this was early college for us.
Yeah, I can't tell you a time Matt Collins was relevant outside of like the Raiders and the Falcons. So
He scored like a sick, like 60, 70-yard touchdown on a go route with the Birds. And other than that, that's about the only highlight he had for us.
Yeah, he
so
has
obviously he's just a deep ball guy.
his career yards per catch is 13.
Yeah, not great. Let's jump into we're dragging this on. So let me get into the next one. And Jack, you touched on the defense getting gutted. Both starting safeties are out. What is the secondary going to look like?
I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know how they decided to revamp their secondary. And that's one of the reasons why I'm down on them. I mean, what did they do? Did they go to the draft? I didn't see any big free agent signings to their secondary. Did they
I
go
know
to the
the
draft?
one starter went and the other starter, Jordan Poyer. I forget the other starter who went out. But,
Micah Hyde.
Yeah.
They have Tyler
So,
Rapp.
Two pretty huge guys to move on from.
Also,
Damar Hamlin about to step it up.
Tre'Davious White was their star cornerback who almost was like a top 3 cornerback in the league a couple of years ago before he got hurt. He's out of the room too. So that's just another reason why I'm down on the Bills this year. I don't think that they're going to have the defense that we're used to seeing them have. I mean, even Von Miller. Von Miller's still there, dude. He's like 50 years old. Shout out Von Miller, Hall of Famer, respect the career. But, that's who they're relying on, guys like that.
Yeah, I think they're going to let up points.
Every time they play the Dolphins receiving core, that whole secondary is going to have a heart attack.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That is not going to be fun games for them. But yeah, the last question, Jack, sounds like you're a no. Brian, sounds like you're more optimistic on this question. But I mean, can Josh Allen lead him to the Super Bowl?
No.
Not this year. Not this year.
Because Mahomes did it last year.
As long as Patrick Mahomes stays out of cars driven by his father, the Bills aren't going to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Diggs leaving and the replacements they brought in doesn't tell me that made them really much better.
No, I'm just going to keep it short and simple. No, I don't think they have a shot. I don't think they have the roster.
All right, let's move on to the next team.
Going into our next team from South Florida, the Miami Dolphins, set at 9.5 wins. Over is minus 135, so pretty much go either way. Brian, Matt, what are you guys thinking on this? Over or under 9.5?
This one,
I think I like. I don't know if I can take things back, but I think I kind of like the Bills under and the Dolphins over now that I think about it.
You're allowed to take it back. The podcast doesn't release till tomorrow morning.
That's true. I always hate going back on my word, but it's like I don't know how both these teams hit their over totals. That's where I'm having some tough time. Tyreek new deal, Tua new deal. Everybody's getting new deals in South Florida. Dolphins should be, just as good as they were last year. Although people forget they choked at the end of the year. They were supposed to have a home playoff game and then had to travel to Kansas City in minus 4 degrees. Like that whole thing was crazy. But yeah, I'll take the Dolphins over. I like the 9.5 line a lot.
You'd think a team with the best player in football would be favored to win the division, but that's just not the case here. And like Matt, you mentioned it, they went to Kansas City in the freezing cold and they laid an egg. And I know they're better, or they're supposed to be better than, I guess, the Jets and the Patriots, and they're basically equivalent with the Bills, but all those teams play in cold weather. So I'm not confident in saying they're going to sweep anybody in the division. and that would be 3 losses right there. And you never know with Tua's health, so I'm leaning the under.
Wow.
Yeah, this is one of the tougher ones for me to gauge. I'm pretty high on the Dolphins just because they have some amazing weapons on that offense. I think Coach McDaniel is one of the best coaches in the NFL. I know Brian's not a huge fan of him, but I think he's awesome. I have them going 9-8 or 10-7, so literally splitting this line right here, and I don't know which way to feel about it, so not going to touch it. If I have to pick one. I think more things could go wrong than could go right for them. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll take under 9.5, but I think they'll be right there either way. I do expect them to be right there for a playoff contender. And Matt, I think it's funny that you brought up that game, that Chiefs playoff game. And I meant to mention this earlier in the pod when you brought up the Michael of the week, Tyreek Hill being #1 overall. He got shut out in that playoff game. Shut
He didn't
out
do
to the
anything.
He didn't do anything. He got shut out to the point where his coach, Coach McDaniel, who I'm just talking up right here, who is normally only and always saying good things about his players, sort of kicked him in the butt a little bit and said, "I thought you were supposed to be like the best receiver in the NFL. Like, what the hell happened?" And Tyreek Hill he responded to that in the right way. We haven't seen him on the field yet, but what happens in the pressers and all that, he reacted to it the right way. Said, "No, coach was right. I got to be better." And that's something that I guess is working against my argument for why they're going to go under 9.5 this year. But I think they're gonna struggle on defense as well. They lost their 2 best pass rushers to devastating season-ending injuries midway through later half of the season last year. So I don't think either of them are going to be available to start the season. That's Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips. So D line might look tough. They also lost Christian Wilkins to Las Vegas in free agency, so I don't know who's going to be rushing the passer for them. But I guess you could be happy that Jalen Ramsey's healthy.
Well, yeah, again, I mean, last thing before we get into these rapid fire questions, unless you guys have anything, but we talk about that game, and longtime members and listeners and watchers in Section 400 will remember how high we were on L'Jarius Sneed last year. I believe we all sprinkled him to win Super Bowl MVP just because we were that high on him, and he shut down Tyreek Hill. So that's just another thing they're going to have to deal with in a hypothetical playoff game.
All right, getting into our rapid fire questions. So this is one of the most explosive offenses in the league. They hung a 70 burger on the Broncos last year. Who do you think is going to lead the backfield? Is it going to be the veteran Raheem Mostert, or is it going to be the second-year player Devon Achane, who had some time last year, looked incredibly explosive, but was also hurt? Is it going to be one of the rookies they drafted? Who do you guys think is going to be the guy in their backfield?
Well, I forget the context of it, but Mike McDaniel did come out and say it's going to be Mostert, and the kind of discourse, obviously, everybody wants to see Achane. He's electric, or Achane, I believe it is. But I mean, if it's going to be Mostert, it's going to be Mostert. I think it should be Achane. I think he's the better back at this point in his career. But Mostert got me a lot of touchdowns in fantasy last season, so maybe I go back to that. Well, they're both good. It's just Mostert's getting up there.
Yeah, I think we see it split. Probably two-headed monster out of the backfield. Keep both running backs more fresh. I think that's kind of where we're seeing the new generation of NFL backfields is kind of two-headed monsters. Unless you have one of those top 3 crazy running backs, you kind of get a platoon, I guess you could call it. So I think you get a little bit of both. Test the waters. Maybe give the ball to the hot hand, whoever's playing a little better at the time. Maybe they find their starter in week 10 after trying him out all year. So I think we see a two-headed monster out of the backfield to start the year.
Yeah, you're right. If you don't have a feature back like Travis Etienne, like a top 5 back, it's pretty tough. Yeah. Moving on. Next question.
You don't even believe that.
Yes, I do.
You don't even believe that.
Yes, I do. All right, moving on.
Tank Bigsby has scored more rushing touchdowns than Travis Etienne this year.
How much you want to bet he doesn't? What do you want to put on it, Brian?
Oh, baby, the first bet of the year.
What do you want to put on it? Your baby's name?
No, I'm not willing to do that. Maybe I don't know, a nice little $20 bill.
I know what those look like. I got myself a couple of those little $20 bills. All right, moving on. Tyreek
Hold on,
Hill.
just so it's official on statement. What's the bet for the people and $20 wager?
Brian, I can't believe I can't just take your money like this.
I got to stand on my business, man. I made a take, and I'm gonna stand on it.
Okay,
Fucking
well,
stand
shit.
on it, Brian.
All right. Well, if Travis Etienne has more rushing touchdowns, or is it total touchdowns?
Rushing.
More rushing touchdowns than Tank Bigsby this year for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I will collect $20 from you, Brian.
Yep.
That's going to be tough, but Brian, stand on your business. Stand on your War Eagle shit, so to speak, and best of luck to you. But Jack, why don't we jump into some rapid fire?
Let's finish these.
Before we get another fucking side bet.
Let's get more rapid with these.
Football's back.
Football's back.
Football back, baby. All right, we're gonna skip the little introductory stuff. What is Tyreek Hill's final stat line in the season? Is he hitting 2,000 yards?
No.
How concussed is Tua? See, that's like the questions. Like, I can't answer these because it's such a question mark in that offense.
Brian, obviously, you don't know. That's the whole point. I mean, if we get a fully healthy Tua and a fully healthy Tyreek, they were on pace. He was on pace to hit 2,000 last year, but he missed a couple games. What do you think happens this season? You think he gets there? No.
If they both play all 17 games, he'll have 2,300 yards, 14 touchdowns.
Damn, 2,300. That's wild. Okay, that's
Tua led the league in passing last year, and he missed a bunch of games.
No, you're absolutely right. I get, and they're going to have a worse defense this year.
Defenses adjust, coordinators get better. I think we'll see a great year, but I think 2,400 is a little outrageous. I got it at this: 112 catches, 1,842 yards, 11 touchdowns for Tyreek Hill this upcoming year.
How many touchdowns?
11.
Okay.
Why is that an outrageous take?
No, I think that's a way more appropriate stat line than Brian's 2,300 yards.
I'm surprised you didn't give out like 150 catches because you were loving his receptions props last year. I think you cashed on like 7 in a row.
Dude, I cashed like 7 out of the 8 weeks.
That's incredible.
But, I mean, I figured maybe I went a little light on the receptions, but what did I say, 111? 112?
Yeah, I think you said 112.
112. I think that's pretty fair.
I definitely think he hits that. I'm with you, man. I think he's hitting those numbers. All right, moving on. Next question. Are we betting the over in every single Dolphins game this year? I already talked about how they're missing. I mean, not missing, but they're out their top 3 pass rushers from last season. I don't think their defense is going to be really any good. I think they have a pretty decent secondary between Ramsey and Javon Holland, but I don't know what else they got back there. I just think that a lot of this is going to be offense, and it's going to look like a Madden game for them, as Brian likes to call the McDaniels games. They're Madden games. So are we betting the overs in every single game this season or what?
I hate to beat a dead horse, but how healthy is Tua? I mean, he misses 1 or 2 games. I mean, that under might not happen, or the over might not happen. If he plays every game, I feel fine betting the over. But again,
all right, Brian, before you even give me your next question or your answer, I'm just going to give you my next question. Do we think Tua stays healthy for the entire year? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Follow-up question. Is it a season-ending injury where, they're messing, they don't have him for the playoffs kind of deal, or he's just going to miss a game here and there?
I think possibly season-ending, but I think definite, like 1 to 2, maybe 3 games, 100% guaranteed he will miss. He will miss at least 1 game this year.
Both. He'll have the injury where he misses 1 to 2 games, and then he'll come back too early, and then he'll get hurt again and be out.
It'll turn into season-ending.
All right, so everybody's just down bad on the Dolphins right now.
Horrible question, dude. Hate having to fucking predict this guy getting injured.
Well, you guys are the one that's doing it with every single answer.
I know you're setting us up.
Just
Listen,
assume he's going to be healthy. I mean,
You're
or
baiting us.
like I said in the beginning of this preview, no quarterback from the University of Alabama that ever played for the University of Alabama will ever win anything important.
Dude, like your quarterback's Daniel Jones. Move on.
I wanted to get something from you. I didn't get it the first time.
I know, but you keep fucking saying it, so you're gonna get something again. Was that the last question, Jack?
honestly, it should be. So let's move on from the Dolphins.
All right, well, I guess we'll wrap it up.
You got your favorite team, Jets, to wrap us up there.
I guess we'll wrap it up with the New York Jets, the what should be vastly improved New York Jets. Like we said, 9.5 win total, and they are favored to go over at -130. So maybe Vegas thinks they'll be just as good as the Dolphins, but I mean, listen, they won 7 games last year, and they didn't have a quarterback. Like Jack said with Tim Boyle, I forget his exact quote, but it was like some Jeff Bezos just implant to have a quarterback for that Black Friday game. But now they have Aaron Rodgers, so maybe they can do something this year. I mean, if they can just be competent on offense, you'd think they can get to 10 wins. I think they can get there, so I'm taking their over. Matt, you don't seem as bullish on them. And Jack, I don't know how you feel about them.
I think they go right at 9. I think they're 8 or 9 again, even with Rodgers. I more think that because I don't know that Rodgers is going to stay healthy again.
Yeah, I'm not. Obviously, we're just talking all about injuries, and if people can stay healthy, which is something that I feel like we should probably just assume. So, or not. If you really,
Well,
don't
if
believe
history
somebody-
tells you one thing, you gotta take it into account. You can't just ignore it.
Absolutely, but this is the way I look at it. If Rodgers is healthy, well, this is a Super Bowl contending team. You saw what they did last year without him, without their leader, and like you said, I can't even name you who was starting quarterback for them. I know Zach Wilson played a couple games for them, but gosh, this team was actually halfway decent with, like you said, a Zach Wilson starting for them. Imagine what Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall can do with Aaron Rodgers under center, drawing people off sides, commanding an offense and a football team the way he has for, almost 20 years. I don't see a world where they don't make the playoffs. I mean, you look at their success last year, you throw Rodgers in the mix. I understand he's got to come off the injury. He's got to come out of Egypt or wherever the hell he was and actually get focused on football. But, I mean, this is a Hall of Fame quarterback that we have absolutely loved for years and years. I mean, I don't see a reason why we would doubt them here.
All right, so I guess we're riding the over. Matt is the under here. But I guess we'll get right
If Rodgers is healthy, I think they sit. Maybe they hit the over. It's more. I already have 2 fucking teams going over in the division. I can't take another over.
That's true. Yeah, that's fair. And we'll recap our final bets after these rapid fire questions here. But we'll make it quick because I know we're running a little long. So first one, who will appear in more NFL games this year? Aaron Rodgers or Taylor Swift? I guess
Taylor
the question.
Swift. Nah, I got Rodgers. Because even if he's injured, he's still going to be on the sideline on TV.
Well, he wasn't last year.
Yeah, he was.
Not till the end.
I mean, this kind of seems like a bet. Who's going to go farther, the Jets or the Chiefs?
Well, Taylor Swift probably won't be at every Chiefs game.
She'll be at a lot.
Yeah, I just give me Aaron Rodgers, bro. I don't know.
All right, I'm taking T Swift. Okay, so more wins in the month of October, the Mets or the Jets?
Jets.
Mets aren't going to make the playoffs.
I'm going to take the Mets here just because I have to. All right, will Garrett Wilson finish as a wide receiver 1 in fantasy, so one of the top 12?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel confident. I think that's a great line, top 12, because I think he sits in the rankings in between like 11, 12, 13 range.
Yeah, I think I might be a little bit higher on him than you, Matt. I think he's probably a top 8 wide receiver for me.
All right, the Jets haven't swept the Patriots since 2000. Does it happen this year?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
it does.
think I think so. I think so. The Jets are choke artists on the road, though. Could totally see them fumbling a game up in Foxborough.
Yeah, I do think they're going to lose in Foxborough. That's 25 years. Just at some point, there's a curse going on there. All right, last one. Will Brees Hall finish with the most rushing touchdowns in this division?
Yes. Again, if healthy,
One,
which he had a pretty crazy injury last year.
dude, that's tough. I mean, Mostert just led the league in rushing touchdowns last year for the Dolphins. So to say that Brees is going to beat him,
I think they're going to lean on A-Chain down there, and Mostert is getting a little older. He's another guy with an injury issue.
yeah,
I
You
think we
also
see
got-
the two-headed monster. I think we see the two-headed monster out of Miami, which is why I'm
right.
going with Brees here.
There's those two. There's James Cook in Buffalo, who isn't much of a touchdown guy,
I
but
have no faith in Cook.
he's a feature back there. And then you got Ramondre, who's going to be the feature back in New England. I feel like, Brian, you know what? I'm going to go with, yes, Brees has the most touchdowns in this division, but the field is a strong play here.
Yeah, I wanted to make some good lines here, but yeah, Matt, you have Ramondre scoring 12. So Brees is going to have a great year.
You have like 15.
Definitely could. Jets have a good O-line.
Yep.
All right, well, you members of the Fantasy Football League, we still need two more, by the way, but I think you just found out who Matt might be looking at in fantasy drafts this season.
Maybe. Or maybe I'm throwing out. Maybe I'm trying to bait somebody.
We
All right,
wouldn't
well,
do that to the listeners.
I guess
Never
to wrap
know.
it up here. So for the Jets, Jack, we're taking the over 9.5 wins. Matt, you're on the under. The Dolphins at 9.5. I'm taking the under. Matt, you're at the over.
Yes.
And Jack, you're taking the under.
Yeah, this is the toughest one for me, but I'm going to take the under. I think they got 9 wins.
All right, the Bills, Matt, you're on the over.
Yes.
Jack, you're on the under.
Bad under.
And I am also on the over. And then the Patriots, I have the over, which I'm not loving after already giving out 2 overs. And then you both are on the under.
Yes.
But 4.5, I feel like the Patriots can split with the Bills and the Jets, and they could still catch their overs. So I'm not too worried
Patriots
about
are
that.
not beating the Jets. Or the Patriots are not beating the Bills.
I think they have a better chance of beating the Bills than they do the Jets.
Dude, weird things happen up in Buffalo for those games and Foxborough.
Foxborough,
weird division.
where the weird shit goes down.
The weird division.
Very weird division. But I think that's our preview, unless you guys have any last thoughts here.
No, I mean that's the AFC East. I think an bigger overlook is like, dude, is the AFC East are they going to be even a good division this year?
I don't know, man. I mean, that's a great question. I mean, the Patriots are going to be one of the league's worst teams. You're not going to see one of the top AFC teams coming out of here unless, the Bills unless I guess you could see it from one of the other 3 teams, but I don't see a Chiefs or a Ravens-esque team coming out of the AFC East. Yeah, I don't think they'll be all that good.
Should we give out a division winner?
Ooh,
I'm going with Jets.
I got the Bills again.
Yeah, I'm torn between the Bills and the Jets, but just because the Bills have done it so recently and
Right.
so often, I'll give the Bills. But I do think the Jets make the playoffs.
Jets definitely have a shot.
Yeah.
Definitely a shot.
Yeah, I think it's between the Jets and Miami. So I'm clearly just down on the Bills this year. I'm clearly just down on them.
I think their offense again with such a dynamic quarterback, they might take a hit, but I think they'll still look good.
Yeah.
400 time. Hope you like the AFC East preview. Stay tuned, on the lookout for the next division. That'll come in the next show later on this week. But it is time for 400, one of the most highly requested segments on the show. Great addition to our lineup. It's a 400. Brian, what are we drafting today?
Yeah, so I teased the fantasy football league. We're going to give away some of our fantasy insight here, I guess you could say. But we're all going to draft a quarterback, a running back, a receiver, and a tight end to build our AFC East fantasy squad in section 400. And we cannot repeat. So if Jack takes Tua, Matt and I can't take Tua. So Jack, I'll leave it to you if you want to take Tua with your first pick, or are you going somewhere else?
All right, I guess I have the first pick. Well, you know me, Brian. I'm sort of addicted to fantasy football and shit. So I've been doing plenty of mock drafts already, and just based off of where people are going already, I'll go with the best player on the board. Give me Brees Hall.
Okay.
Is this not the
I
quarterback
don't know.
round?
No, you can go. You just have to get all four, but you can go in any order.
Oh, I thought it was a quarterback thing. Yeah, that shakes things up. But what is it? Quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end?
Yep.
One of each. Yeah.
Yeah, I will take Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, when you said the guy going off the top of draft boards, I thought you were going to take Hill, Jack.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. So I totally forgot about Tyreek Hill.
I think we got to stop giving you the first pick.
I mean, I feel like every single time we do any 400, it's like, all right, we're gonna do this. Jack, you got first pick. I'm like, okay, let's do this.
Kentucky
and then
Derby.
you guys are like, oh my god, what a terrible idea.
All right, Brian, let's go here.
All right, I will take Josh Allen, and then on the wraparound, I will go with Garrett Wilson.
Not bad, not bad. Guess I'll try and if you snag Josh Allen, I guess I'll take Tua.
All right, I'm gonna have myself Mr. Kincaid and Jalen Waddle.
And I will swoop back in. Don't love the pick. Can I have the Dolphins running back room?
No, got to pick one.
I'll take a Kane. Fuck it.
Okay.
I think he's got the fresher legs. They'll give him more of a leash eventually.
So the real question. Oh no. Okay, I'll go Ramondre, and then I'll take Johnny Smith.
Interesting. You're gonna take Ramondre over James Cook?
I already have a bill.
Oh, okay. Is that how that works? Is that another caveat? You can only have one player from a team?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Since when? Since when was that part of the rules, Brian?
Okay. Well, yeah, that one we rolled in. I thought I said that was a rule.
Because then your fourth round, like the last pick here, you're sort of pigeonholed into like one person.
Yeah, that's kind of why it gets hard. That's the idea.
Also, by the way, all three of my picks are guys on the Dolphins.
Oh, shit. Well, we'll start that next time then. But yeah, that's why it's hard. Like that's what gets hard about it. But yeah, I didn't even notice that.
I didn't notice that either until you guys just brought it up. I'm just going based on who's best available. But is it my turn?
Yeah.
I don't even know the tight ends left. Yeah, give me. Did anybody take Hunter Henry?
No, you got Hunter Henry.
Give me him.
All right, and Brian tried to get me to go with fucking Drake May or Joe Melton, but I'm gonna go with Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Famer. Thank you.
All right, let us know who you think the best one is. I think for the next show.
I did a horrible job explaining that. For the next show, we have to pick one player from each team.
Horrible explanation by Brian. I basically have Miami Dolphins offense as my team. You should have just given me the running back room at this point. But yeah, that's what we got for the 4 and 400 Etsy's preview, the whole 9 yards. It's late on a Sunday night. Everybody have a great week. I'll see you in the next one. Time for the B-ball shot. I've been practicing. Fuck. All right, I'm out.